consciousness, and whatever that is, or however you define your state of reality and everything that makes you who you are, that's what I'm talking about. Consciousness. You're not conscious, which is the ability to know right from wrong. And I don't have to talk about conscious because we all know what's right and wrong, right? Be it defined as your inner voice and awareness of your own existence or your feelings and thoughts, I'm asking, what the hell is consciousness? From different beliefs to different aspects, we all interpret the world in which we live using our consciousness. And right out of the old gate, let's talk about the science behind the study of our consciousness. And I ain't talking about neuroscience, the study of the brain and our nervous systems, because I'm talking philosophy and psychology of our consciousness, because I want to at least try to understand some fundamental questions, like the nature of consciousness, along with all the altered states of consciousness. When it comes to the hard sciences, to the origins of our consciousness, it's pretty much thought that our consciousness evolved from much simpler forms of awareness, which means it evolved gradually over time, which makes sense. Unless you're taking the creation route, you're more than welcome to do so. But if you don't, at least take a second and think about the evolution of consciousness. Because if consciousness evolves, what the fuck will consciousness like be in another couple of million years? And as I'm reading about the evolution of consciousness, I'm thinking, that's for another video. But of course, I gotta think about that. And with the future of how we view shit neatly tucked away, and yeah, it ain't really all that neatly tucked away, but we'll go ahead and move on to asking ourselves, how many types of consciousness are there? And yeah, there is more than just yours. How many different types of consciousness there are depends, but it is accepted that we have at least two, and according to some, a hell of a lot more. And of course, the two known states of consciousness are being conscious and not being conscious. But with that said, inside the realm of your consciousness are different levels of your awareness. That's right, you have different states of consciousness, which means there are different kinds of consciousness. Now we know about our subconsciousness, at least most of us that are actually conscious are aware of it, and we know it's part of us that influences us from somewhere deep in our consciousness in ways that we are still trying to understand. Then we have the superconsciousness, which is a higher state of awareness and serves as a connection to God and the universe. Something that smoking a lot of weed through the years has helped with, but I got no proof of that. I just know it to be true. Then there's pre-consciousness, which are thoughts or memories that you can draw out into your conscious thought, but you got to work a little bit to get to them. Now, I've already mentioned our unconsciousness, but I haven't talked about its cousin, the non-conscious, and that simply is an area where old memories and experiences exist. Yeah, and you also got to do a little work here and drawing them up into your conscious thought, just like with the pre-conscious. The non-conscious also is responsible for keeping your heart beating and your lungs breathing. Those things that you don't want to be bothered with. Now, I need to step back here because there are a lot of different definitions out there for each of these levels of your consciousness. And some scientists add more, and others take away from how many levels of consciousness there are. So yeah, it's a partial list, but kind of useful. Useful because it allows us to at least try to understand something that's really hard to comprehend. What consciousness really is. For instance, materialism is the belief that the physical world is real, and that consciousness is a phenomenon that results from our interaction with the physical world. And there's different beliefs in how that interaction works, but it's boring stuff. Boring because I just couldn't understand any of it. Now there's also dualism, the belief that mind and matter are two separate and distinct things. And there's a couple of different takes on dualism. And of course, the belief that the physical world is merely a creation of our consciousness is known as idealism. And there's cosmic idealism and even micro idealism, if you're interested. So yeah, my friends, when it comes to our understanding of our perception of reality, there's a lot of literature out there you can choose from. But the only reality I took away from this is that none of us know shit about the reality we live in. None of us. The consciousness, my friends. Excuse me. My back is killing me. But I gotta get the videos out because, I'll leave it at that. Leave everything at that. I say that a lot, don't I? I leave it at that. Just something to think about. Anyway, consciousness. You know what? The one thing I hope anybody takes away from this video, and if you believe in God and you're in the creation, that's fine. I'm good with that. But the evolution of consciousness. I mean, evolution always continues, right? Where are we going to be in another 100,000 years, 500,000 years, 10,000 years? Who knows? Consciousness and our perception of reality, the world we live in, it's our reality. How will that change our reality in 10,000 years or whenever? And just a fascinating, I had once thought that the evolution of humans, and I still think this, the next stage in the evolution of humans is our merge with technology. And like I said, I never thought there was much after that, but I'm beginning to think, if consciousness evolves, and I just started this after I just started thinking this after researching this for this video, that if consciousness evolves, maybe there is something after we merge with machines and then we outgrow the machinery or the digital or whatever, or else we just evolve into something way that we can't even think of. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Have a good day. I'm going to go mind trip.